Hi, Madzook Joe here, coming to you from the fabulous Phuket, Thailand, one of our favorite places, as you well know. Shooting this video today at a gym that we work out at. It's called Alpha Health Club, and it's a very good health club. If you're in the Phuket area, be sure to come in and check it out. Our friend Peter owns it, and great staff, great people. They're building a pool here, and they've been nice enough to allow us to shoot some video here before the rain season comes. So we have about a month of video shooting that we can do here with you before the rain comes. And the subject that I wanted to talk about today is a subject that I've placed on a blog post on www.madzook.com, which concerns the Madzook Fateful 8 for self-discovery and personal development, and the Madzook Mandatory 8 for personal development and performance enhancement. All right, so these two things are really what we highlight our focus of our practice on. Self-discovery is vitally important, and most people are wondering the questions: who, what, when, how did I get here, what's my purpose? So we try to help you find that and exhibit your passion. Second is, how do I develop personally? What can I do as an individual to become better? So we have a Be Better motto, and we try to help you be better, right? So we look at the specifics of your situation, of the context of your toolbox, and we try to develop within what your capacities, goals, and realistic expectations are. Okay, and then performance enhancement, which is our main bailiwick as a sport and performance psychology consultant practitioner. We are constantly working with top-level athletes, CEOs, general public, anyone that really is seeking the proficiency of their game. We like to call it proficiency over sufficiency. All right, so with that said, the topic today is negativity bias. People are wondering, why do I always think bad thoughts, or what's going on, or how is it that I can't seem to get this positive self-talk thing that I keep hearing about going? Positive self-talk and cognitive behavioral therapy, commonly known as CBT, are being bandied about quite liberally now. You have to excuse me because it's really humid here today in Phuket, and it's about 95 degrees. So part of the joys of being able to shoot with you outside is that I'll have to wipe the occasional sweat from the brow, as it will. Okay. Anyway, so through cognitive behavioral therapy and through positive psychology, there's something called self-talk. Okay. So the positive self-talk is meant to generate, a positive atmosphere, a positive attitude for you. And on the surface, that's great. And it really works deep on a cellular level as well. But go a little deeper. That's what we like to do with you here at Madzook. So made myself some notes. Let's try to get you up to speed on where you need to start to look. So heuristics are common in the psychology realm. And heuristics are basically the filters from which we view or see things. This is how we make our choices. This is how we assess whether we like things, this kind of process, all right? So there's a phenomenon called negativity bias. So with negativity bias, what happens is it's believed through a wide array of research for various reasons that even at the genetic and cellular and neurological level, that we're constantly thinking the worst. We're thinking the worst in other people, we're thinking the worst in ourselves, we're thinking the worst of situations. And try as you might, you self-talk, 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 and still you're just fighting this uphill battle constantly. It's a constant ebb and flow of trying to override the positive with this negativity bias. All right, rest assured you're not alone. Some people have a genetic capacity for this. The gene is actually called the ADRA2B gene. For those of you in that deep of scientific realm, I would encourage you to read it. Unless you're used to reading science, it's neurology is a deep science to get involved in. All right, so basically the ADRA2B gene is a G protein receptor that influences the neurotransmitter norepinephrine. So it also deletes the glutamic acids within the body. So if these are the types of terms that you want to know more about, and you should, then you need to research this a little bit farther than what I can go into on this video with you. All right, for me to understand fully the functionality of them, I get the gist of them. I read a lot of research, I read a lot of science, so I can understand what proximal and distal and different regions of the brain and all that stand for. But it would take me quite the reading to undertake really delving in and dissecting, if you will, the neurology and the connectivity of the action potentials that are taking place. So let's try to keep this on the basic side of things. For you that need to go deeper, believe me, there's plenty of information out there. Take the time, research it. I read it, you're gonna love it, okay? So Western science now postulates what's called the Pollyanna hypothesis. They believe that there are more positive words used in linguistics than there are negative words. Counter research suggests that if you go globally or go multicultural inclusive, that you'll find that there are more negative words used than positive words. But this accounts for cultural slang. It accounts for different context of certain words that might mean something negative to one person. From the outsider, it could seem to be positive. You know, it could be said with a hint of sarcasm, like, yeah, you go get that money, you know, versus, you know, that sounds pretty positive. Yes, go get the money. But it was meant to say, you know, you're not capable of getting it, right? So what was the general context? What was the perception of the receiver? When we add all these into the research, we find that negative words and negative environments far outweigh positive ones. All right, so this is where the negativity bias comes into play. All right, it actually overrides the Pollyanna hypothesis, which suggests that by self-love and positive living and positive words and complimenting people, that you're going to override this. Now, rest assured, Madzook, myself, Madzook Joe, Madzook Joy, and everyone that we're involved with are wholeheartedly involved in recognizing beauty when we see it, recognizing strength when we see it, recognizing intelligence when we see it. I think not only do you need to recognize it, you also need to acknowledge it and compliment it where it is. Freud calls it Jung calls it the collective unconscious, right? And so with the collective unconscious, the basic precept of this is that what I do affects what everyone else does. So what I may compliment the clerk at the store and say, boy, that's a lovely dress, or you look beautiful today. She may take that and run and think, okay, hey, I got a great compliment, she feels good for an hour. All the energy vibrations of everyone she encounters in that hour, they feel good and rise their positive environment as well. Maybe it influences or spurs her on to say something positive to the next person that she sees, that she recognizes in. You know, so if we could do more of this, that's great, all right? But in and of itself, that isn't going to help you personally develop. That isn't going to help you find the competence that you need. All right, how do we get there, Joe? Well, so there's an agreement that takes place across all research that suggests that the negative impact weighs more on us. It's more intense of a feeling, creates more intense thoughts than what we would like to give to the positive ones. Someone pays you a compliment. Gee, Jill, you're very beautiful today. Gee, John, you're very strong today. Gee, John, you're very beautiful today. Gee, Jill, you're very strong today. Whatever that compliment might be or become is something that we need to examine a little deeper and continue to put forth. However, just because we recognize it and compliment others and we create as much of a positive environment as we can, doesn't mean that we're going to stamp the negativity bias out, okay? All right. There's three types of these heuristics. One is the availability heuristic. So basically, we allow ourselves to shortcut the choices that we make or the words that we choose or the filters that we see something positive or negative in by what does it mean to us? How easy is it, right? What is the difficulty level going to mean? How much work do I have to put into it? So this is the availability heuristic. There's also a representative heuristic. The representative heuristic, what will I get out of it? What have I seen before in my life? What have I done before that is almost similar to this? Where is my association level? Why do I believe this way? And then you're going to take that quick answer and prejudge in some cases. Some cases that'll be correct. Some cases that won't be correct. This is the biggest pet peeve that I have with practitioners out there that call themselves life coaches. We all know who they are. I call myself a life coach as well because that seems to be the terminology of the day. However, they don't have the education. They have the intention, but they don't have the education to put forth. So they belittle education, first of all, because they don't have it. So they try to minimize the importance of knowledge and minimize the importance of all of these thousands of years of historical behavioral studies, just so that they can feel equal on the playing field, because they tried to say we all have the same emotion. So by arguing with emotion, we are all equal, okay? So you hear them all talk about being an empath, or you know, trust your intuition, it's going to take you everywhere. Okay, to a degree, that's true. We are a survival creature, and our intuition and our instinct is important to us. Now, when you start getting into the world of bias, egocentrism, ethnocentrism, racism, genderism, right? Or heuristics. Another word for all these things I just mentioned will be representative heuristics, right? These filters that you already adjudicate issues or phenomena or people through. So is that your intuition telling you that? Or is it your cognition from a preconceived filter that has developed over the course of time, both genetically, neurologically, and through the environmental learned processes that you've come to understand? So you must ask yourself, am I egocentric? Am I ethnocentric? Of course you are. We all are. Everyone, every gender, every race, every person from every culture, right? You're taught certain things. You're taught certain cultural aspects, and these aren't wrong. There's not better or worse. They're different. But you're going to look at those through your representative heuristic, all right? So if your representative heuristic is constantly negative, funny little story, I have I'll call him an acquaintance here at the Alpha Health Club that works out, and he's from Austria. So let's call him John. So John comes to me, he's from Austria, and I've nicknamed him Eeyore, because every time the guy comes around me, it could be beautiful, sunny, and 95 degrees out, and he'll say, huh, think it's gonna rain tomorrow. What do you think about them damn bugs? Oh my God, this humidity is horrible and sticky, right? Wait, John, that's sunshine, it's nice, it's warm. You're not in Austria, right? What about the good things? And I try to counter it, but I've just realized that there's nothing I'm going to do or say that's going to counter what John's views of the day are, right? So I just nicknamed him Eeyore, you know, the old character from Pooh that, gee, Pooh, it's a rainy day, you know, and oh my, what's going to happen today? The black clouds following us around. You know, Linus and Charlie Brown, right? Didn't the black cloud always follow him around with the lightning and the rain and the thunder? Used to work with some car guys, and I was a younger kid, and I was 18 and trying to work my way through, and they told me they would give someone a case of the black ass because they would make them so negatively thinking that they couldn't function that day, right? And these people actually did this on purpose. This was an intended purpose for them to destroy someone else's mind for the day so that they could jump in front of them and make a sale, right? So unfortunately, there are people out there that are like that. I'm sure that those people are still around, and I'm sure that those people have gone forth and multiplied, if you will, all right? All right, so we're talking about yourself, all right? So how do you alter it in yourself? Well, be aware of these heuristics. Study them, learn the depth of them. Availability heuristic, representative heuristic. So there's anchoring heuristics, all right? There's some people, let's say that if I give you a listed items 1 through 10, half of you are going to start at 1 and judge everything else based on the importance of what the item number 1 was. You won't even care what 5 or 6 is. You're going to relate it or compare it always to number 1 because I said number 1 first. All right, there's others of you that will look at number 10 and start from there and go, well, this is the last thing he said, so this must have been the one he really wanted us to remember, because we all know that it's not what you hear, it's how you hear it or how you feel, or Dale Carnegie said this, right? Okay, true enough. But keep in mind that all these true platitudes that you hear have an etiology, a starting point, a place of genesis. You can't start and end at your genesis. So your platitude cannot be a starting point and an ending point. All right? You have to learn to integrate these. Do this by understanding what your heuristics are. You have to understand who you are before you can determine who you will be. Evaluation heuristics judges the desirability of the outcome. All right? So do you really want this to happen? You know, I mean, should I run this race because I want to get in shape, or should I just run this race because the girl next to me is pretty and she thinks that I'll look better if I run the race, right? Whatever it is that you're desiring to be the outcome, That's called an evaluation heuristic. All right? All right. So, to recap, we have a gene in us called the ADRA2B gene. It predisposes us to a negativity bias. All right? So, you can beat it. Learned behavior does take care of it. And conditioned responses can beat it. All right? This isn't just for athletes. This is for everyday people, for you and me, people like you and me that just want to function better, be positive, be positive. Yes, positive self-talk helps. Yes, reframing helps. But I'm going to pose to you something that I call reforming, right? So reform your heuristics. You know, rebuild them. Start from today and consciously, now that you've read and you understand what heuristics are, learn how to build them so that you can gain a Pollyanna effect, right? Always looking at the positive rather than a negativity bias, always allowing a negative to be the adjudication anchor. All right? Keywords in there that we've used. Now, Madzook has a plan for this. And Madzook has what's called the Fatal 8. The Fatal 8 of self-discovery and personal development. All right? Number 1. You're going to anchor number 1, huh? Okay. So apathy, arrogance, shame, guilt, fear, doubt, envy, submission, and quitting. Any of these 8 things can damage you. So you need to learn to overcome these things. Do not allow these clouds of negativity to develop and to force your heuristics to look at with a negative bias at filters, creating a schemata inside of you that allows you to dwell in the negative. This is how you pull yourself out. Eliminate apathy. Eliminate arrogance. Eliminate shame. Eliminate guilt. Eliminate fear or minimize it. You have to eliminate doubt. Questions are good, doubt is bad. Envy. Envy is probably the greatest of the deadly sins, and it's what humans focus the most upon, especially in the day of Instagram and Facebook and staged photoshops. Submission and quitting. It's okay to walk away from something that's not healthy or good for you. That's not quitting. That's a choice for you to let something go, all right? But to submit, to just give up because you don't feel like doing it, that will damage your self-efficacy and it will hinder your self-discovery. All right, the mandatory 8, intensive self-discovery. Start there. As I mentioned, you must know who you are before you can determine who you will be. Articulate and diverse communication skill development. You must learn to have a voice, to express yourself in positive manners, and to show diversity in the people that you're willing to understand, right? Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not saying agree with everything, because there's a lot of stuff that I don't agree with. Not the topic of this video. However, I will try to understand why that person believes it, so at least I can communicate with them. Candid assessment, both internal and external. Time management. Personal physical development and good hygiene. Personal education and valuable life experience. Knowledge is important. Wisdom is extreme. Acting upon that and knowing how to gain real life applications of that type of knowledge equally is important. One doesn't supersede the other. Both are vital, right? Okay. Flexibility and adaptability. Can't live in this world today being rigid. Stick by your morals, understand who you are, but constantly evaluate those. And be flexible enough to know when you're wrong and be able to adapt when you're in situations that rigidity could just end up being your destruction. Finally, and for those of you that are wondering if I left the important for last in your order of heuristics, here it is. Competence before confidence. Confidence is vital, but if you're not competent and you project a false confidence, it will destroy you. Do not fake it till you make it. Whoever told you that, punch them in the face. Well, okay, maybe you can't punch them in the face, but walk away from them. They're not doing you any service. They have no idea what they're talking about. All right? Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope that there's other ways that I can help you. Please watch for more video on our YouTube channel. Please read our blog on madzook.com. You can check me out on Instagram. I'm MadzookJoe, @MadzookJoe. You can check out Madzook Joy on Instagram. She's a lot prettier than me and also does a lot of yoga and different things. It's @MadzookJoy. And be sure that you follow along with us on our travels. We'll be happy to share as much as we can.